Okay, so in this segment, we're going to be talking about possible government corruption or incompetence, and I'll leave the which one I think it is at the end. And so we've got two different cases of this, so it's important to separate them out. One is about Randox and testing kits, and the other one's about protective equipment. So we'll go into it's it's an issue of two things, or it's two issues, I guess. And without me messing around, let's get this started. And so the Randox testing kits may not meet safety standards. So this is about the swabs used in some batches of one brand of coronavirus home test kits are not up to standard. Health Secretary Matt Hancock has said, as a precaution, the government said the kits made by Randox should not be used until further notice. There is no evidence of harm being done and no impact on access to testing, Mr. Hancock said, which doesn't make sense because these make up 17% of the total tests carried out in the UK. So that means if they're not fit for purpose, that means that they are dangerous and evidently they are causing some sort of harm if they're not to be used in the future. The company is a healthcare diagnostics group based out of the county Antrim in Northern Ireland. Out of the county, is that how it should read? The swabs are used to collect a sample in the back of the throat. It looks horrible getting one of these sort of tests. It's one of the ones where I think they do a throat test and a nose test. Mr. Hancock told the Commons he was contacted on Wednesday afternoon about the problem. He said the certification behind the CE safety mark on the product was not forthcoming. In a statement, so these weren't safety checked then. Effectively just saying it didn't meet the CE safety mark. These weren't checked properly. In a statement earlier on Thursday, the Department of Health and Social Care said the risk to safety is low and tests from Randox kits are not affected. It would be supporting all testing settings to receive replacement kits as soon as possible. Test kits produced by Randox laboratories have been used in care homes and sent to people at home are clearly marked with the company's name. Kits have already been used and are still being collected as normal. Baroness Dido Harding, head of the NHS Track and Trace, which has failed dramatically, which has a separate contract with Randox, said it was too early to comment on the impact. So this is from the 16th of July, and we've got a separate one which is far more recent. But we can see this is clearly an issue, and they're downplaying it, but you wouldn't be making a big deal out of it. You wouldn't be saying that there's a problem with the kits if there wasn't. Especially when you guys were the ones who authorised it. And what do we find out here? So this is Owen Paterson, former Conservative MP, is paid £500 pounds an hour to advise Randox Laboratories. Okay, and so a healthcare firm which employs prominent Conservative politician Owen Paterson as a paid consultant has been awarded a £133 million contract without any of the firms given the opportunity to bid for the work. And do you know which company this is? Randox. I think I mentioned that a minute ago actually. I'm losing my mind. But Randox have hired this guy here, right? £500 an hour he gets paid as an advisor, and he was is he still a Conservative MP? Oh my, he's still an MP. He's still an MP. This is really bad. I didn't realise he was still an MP. So this guy here is still an MP. He's getting paid £500 an hour to advise this company. Very dodgy. And here, he's one of the ones who got this company the contract from the government. A no-bid contract from a Conservative MP. A guy who's being paid £500 an hour. The founder of Randox Laboratories is Peter Fitzgerald, a polo-playing multi-millionaire Northern Irish doctor who is the 475th richest person with a personal fortune of £255 million, according to the Sunday Times Rich List. So the firm employed Owen Paterson, a former Conservative cabinet and leading Brexit supporter, as a consultant. I don't think all of that's relevant. He's currently paid £100,000 a year at a rate of £500 an hour. So under its contract, Randox has been paid to carry out tests posted to individuals and to be administered at home. So what we can see from this is that Owen Paterson, sitting MP Owen Paterson, has got a contract for the company that he works for. And bear in mind that this company does pay him more. And he obviously values their work more because he's given this contract to a very dodgy company in Randox who have not done their job properly. So in this case, Owen Paterson probably went to Matt Hancock, whoever was dealing with this, and was like, yo, you need test kits? I got test kits, bro. We can make you test kits. All the test kits, phenomenal, tremendous test kits. That's more Trumpian than anything. So in this case, it looks very dodgy given that they've given a no-bid contract to a company that hasn't done its job properly. Is this corruption or incompetence? I don't know. It's very hard. The line's very blurred. And so we'll save my conclusions for the end. And so we've got another one. Coronavirus safety concerns halt the use of 50 million NHS masks. And what we can see from this is the fact that this company, so this one's a bit more ropey and a bit more explaining has to be done. So the government says the masks were which used ear loop fastening rather than head loops may not be tight enough. So as you move around, it might get looser. Ayanda, I think that's how it's pronounced, says the masks met the specification the government had set out. The government says its safety process is robust. So either the government set out the wrong standards, or this company sold the government the wrong masks, and the taxpayer has had to pay for these. They had to pay for the test kits, and they had to pay for these. And so it emerged that the person who originally approached the government about the deal was a government trade advisor who also advises the board of Ayanda. So here we've got a person playing both sides. Again, a government advisor and also a board member. But he told the BBC his position played no part in the contract. I call BS on that. I actually do, and they're being sued by Joe Mugam, I think that's how you pronounce the second name. And so if we actually get to the bottom of this, Millers, this guy. So the government has disclosed that the original approach to sell the masks came not from Ayanda Capital, but from a businessman called Andrew Mills. And Andrew Mills is on the board member of Ayanda Capital and also an advisor to the government when it comes to trade, I believe. He's on the board for UK Trade. So if we go back to his name, Andrew Mills, so we can see that he's playing both sides here, and he's a board member. So what happened was this company called Prosper Mill, which sounds like Prosper Mill had secured the rights to full production capacity of a large factory in China to produce the mask that didn't work properly, and they were able to offer a large quantity almost immediately. But the legal document seen by the BBC notes that Mr. Mills requested the government instead sign the contract for the mask with Ayanda Capital, whose board he advises, because it could arrange overseas payments more quickly. And so his company would get a cut of this. And what we found out is they paid a lot of money, and the masks weren't fit for purpose. So this man here, Joe Mugam QC, I think that's how you pronounce his name, I'm not sure. He got a lot of stick at the start of the year because he killed a fox brutally and unnecessarily. And so he's calculated that they've wasted around £150 million. And Andrew Mills, a government advisor, seems to have made a fortune. He doesn't actually list how much he thinks Mills has made, but we can see that he's an advisor, as mentioned, on the board of trade. And this goes on for a long time, but there's a lot to be said here about the masks and things like that. It's a lot of detail I can't be asked to go through. But what we can see from this is it's very dodgy whatever happened, and they're being sued by his company, the Good Law Project. And if you want to help them, I'll leave the GoFundMe in the links below, and they're going to be suing the government over this because these are incredibly dodgy contracts given to pest control firms. Offshore, these are offshore companies, very dodgy, especially this company here, Ayanda, where's it gone? Ayanda Capital, who deal with like offshore stuff, and now suddenly they're the brokers of this mask deal. And the fact that this guy who sits on the board here managed to convince the government to go with his company in order to make this deal happen. So obviously he did have some sort of influence, especially because he's quite close with Liz Truss. So it's very corrupt for a start, because this is another no-bid contract which has been given through a government, essentially a government advisor, which looks very dodgy for masks that haven't worked. And what have we seen here? Test kits that haven't worked. These are rushed deals that are done very, very quickly, and that produce products that are not fit for purpose, because when you don't put the thing out for tender, you don't get as many companies bidding, and therefore you don't get the quality of company that could actually do a good job here. It said they've rushed into this. Why? Because as much as I dislike, Rachel Reeves points out that they let the stockpiles run down, and then they had to quickly buy the stuff because they were like, oh, everything's running out. What do we do? What are we supposed to do? We had to make this decision. And this idea that anyone could have made these mistakes stuff is a joke. People think that they did the best job they could. It's like, no, they haven't. Because if this is their best, then they shouldn't be allowed to lead. And so look, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll give you my conclusion. I think it's incompetence. I don't think it's corruption. I think what happened was Owen Paterson and this guy Mills, they went to the government when the government was stockpiles running out. I was like, look, we can fix these problems. I've got a company in, this is Mill saying I've got a company in China. They can sort this stuff out. You just got to put the deal through us, and we'll do everything. And with the testing kits, I think it's the same thing, because we're still well behind when it comes to testing, especially given how bad the outbreak is. And so this guy, Patterson, was like, oh, you need tests. I know a company that can do tests. And so that's what I think is happening. I think it's gross incompetence. I don't think it's corruption per se, but then I could be wrong. Let me know what you guys think. Is it corruption? Is it incompetence? Is it a mixture of the two? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.